Alrighty folks, thanks for clicking on today's video. James Cards FC here. If you're new to the channel, we've discussed the more financial side of the soccer card market, and today I wanted to put out a quick video on the 2023 season officially being underway and sort of are we seeing prices moving in response to player performance and their cards shifting in value. That's what I'm going to discuss really briefly today. I have one slide and then I'm going to go through card ladder sales data over these past few days to see if players' prices are moving. But without further ado, we'll go ahead and get into the one slide of today's presentation. It says the end of performance day trading. So I felt this way over the past couple years, but I think that performance day trading is all but dead in the soccer card hobby at this point. Back in 2021 or 2020, a single match or week of matches could send a player's card prices flying 100% or 200% depending on their performance. A very obvious example of this would be Erling Haaland's rookie sticker back in early 2021. When he was playing in the Champions League, he had a couple of huge performances. I believe it was for Dortmund at the time, and his sticker over the course of a week went from being worth $567 to being worth over $1,000 in a very, very short time frame, and that's just not something we see happen in the current market for a variety of reasons that I'm going to talk about here. So, first of all, keep in mind that back in 2020 and 2021, there was very little soccer card product available and very limited knowledge of players, especially those from outside of the top clubs. Back in 2020 or 2021, product was super delayed, so the 2020 product didn't come out until late in 2021, and the 2021 product didn't come out until late 2022. So there's a huge delay in terms of product coming out. So there wasn't a lot of soccer cards out there in general for all this new buzz that was being brought about in the hobby. And so prices were able to go pretty insane because of the whole supply and demand equation being out of whack. And then in tandem with that, you had a lot of new people entering the market that didn't really know a lot of the players out there, so it was very heavily focused on some of the biggest clubs and the biggest leagues. And so when a guy came out of nowhere and had a huge performance, nobody really knew who he was, and so his card prices would go up 2 or 3 or 4x over the course of a few days because all of a sudden people know who he is. That really doesn't happen anymore because there's people like me producing content where I talk about all the rookies that are out in the Merlin product that you probably didn't know about. There's people that are not unlike myself but don't even make videos, and they're tracking every player and every checklist, whereas back in 2020 or 2021, that wasn't really a thing people were doing. So also, there was a lot of more disposable income available to market participants at the time. I don't have the data on this, but I think there might be more people now than ever in the soccer card market, but I think there's pretty obviously much less money than there was in the market before, but I think there are more people in general interacting with the market itself. Now, there's just too many cards nowadays, too many expectations, and not enough money for the big price swings that we saw in the past to occur on most players. Maybe this changes when we get to the Champions League and more of the American market starts to care about soccer. I've been thinking about this recently, but it seems like the soccer crowd in the Americas, or at least in the United States, really hasn't been picking up like we would hope it would after Messi comes to the MLS and the US has a decent-ish performance at the World Cup. We're just not seeing the sport sort of really pick up the support in the United States yet. It's sort of, if you were really into soccer and now Messi comes here, it's like the greatest thing ever, but if you didn't care about soccer before, you probably still don't care about it now and you're just waiting for the NFL season to kick off. That's how I would summarize the general American sports fan at this point. So, like I said, maybe all this changes for the Champions League when more Americans start to care about it. That's when viewership starts to pick up, is during the Champions League. And then maybe the current participants on the market aren't as speculation focused as they used to be. Perhaps all the people that we have in the market now are more collector focused and they're not chasing prospects and caring about who's going up 100% over the course of a weekend. They just want to buy their Ronaldo inserts or Messi gold cards, or they want to buy their I don't even know. Think of a random player. They want to buy their Zidane rookie stickers or something like that, and they don't care about all this nonsense that's going on in the ultra-modern side of the market. I think that also plays a role in this as well. I think there's a lot less speculators in the market than there was before, so a lot less money is focused on speculation and rookie cards going crazy. So, with all that out of the way, I will say that there are a couple of examples of guys that did see their card prices explode over the first week of the season. but it has very little to do with the player's actual performance and has other factors that's really forcing those card prices up. So I'm going to go ahead and switch off the slideshow presentation right now, and I'll take you over to Card Ladder, and we'll go over some player price movements or non-movements over the first week of the season. Okay, so here is Card Ladder. You can hopefully see it on my screen over here. I'm looking at Jude Bellingham and his Sapphire Edition PSA 10 from the Chrome Bundesliga Sapphire set. This is one of his go-to more common rookies in the $100-ish price level. As you can see, despite his two huge performances for Real Madrid so far this season, this card really hasn't moved much at all in price over the past week. It's most recently sold for $90, and it has sold above that in the past and below that in the past. Just not a lot of FOMO going on for this card in particular, so I wanted to go ahead and show that. Before moving forward to show a few other examples of Jude Bellingham here, this is his Topps Chrome Sapphire Aqua in PSA 9, numbered to 150. Another one of his sort of go-to rookies from a super mainstream set. It's a numbered card. It's a PSA 9 just because I could get sales history on the PSA 9, but this is a really sought-after card for Jude in the market. And as you can see, it sold most recently on August 20th for $137.50, which is the exact same price it sold for in July, which was $137.50. And then before that, in May, sold for $126. But if you go back to March, it sold for $300. So it's well down over the past 6 months, but flat over the past 1 or 2 months. So not much going on with those cards in Jude's market. I tried to find an example of something that was up a good amount, and this is the best that I could do. This is his 2020 Finest Bundesliga Gold Refractor, numbered out of 50 in PSA 10, sold in June for $360, and then sold on a fixed price buy it now for $660. So a nice little double up there if this person was the one that ended up selling that one. But if you just scroll down a little bit, you can see that it also auctioned for $550 before dropping to $360 and then coming back up to $660. So Jude prices, if anything, are flat to maybe a little bit up depending on the card, but nobody is really FOMOing into buying a bunch of Jude cards or paying a lot of money for expensive Jude stuff, specifically because of what he did over these past couple weeks. It's probably going to take a lot more for Jude prices to move because there's just already so much speculation and price built into all of his cards that he's probably going to need to have a Ballon d'Or level season for his prices to really see some positive momentum. Then I'll move on to Harry Kane here. I just wanted to bring him up to see if his transfer to Bayern did anything to his market. Kane doesn't have a lot of cards out there in PSA 10 slabs, but this is one of the ones I could find that had sales from before the transfer and after the transfer. This is his Topps Chrome 2017 Green Refractor in PSA 10 condition, sold in August for $255. This was after the Bayern Munich transfer, and then prior to that last year, it sold for $270 before the World Cup, so pretty much no movement on Harry Kane's market in comparison to last year, but depending on how far you want to go back, this card is pretty much in line where it has always been. Then I wanted to look at Matoma. Matoma has been one of the better Premier League players, and he's obviously very well liked in the hobby. If you're opening 2022 product, you're probably looking for a guy like Matoma. But his prices, just like what we saw with Jude and a few others, aren't really moving that much. This is his Select, one of the few rookie sets that he is in. Camo Prism, numbered out of $199. As you can see, it's sold in this $30-ish range for the past month or so, and no significant movement, so no real FOMO going on in Matoma's market right now. It's sort of the same it's always been, despite the fact that Brighton looks like one of the better sides in the Premier League, and he's been amazing in the first 2 matches. Not much movement going on in his market in terms of FOMO, so maybe there's just no FOMO out there for Matoma. Then we'll, of course, have to talk about Messi for a few minutes here. Messi has been performing extremely well in the MLS, and you would hope that some of that would be reflected in his prices, but depending on what card you look at, that actually hasn't been the case. This is his 2017 Chrome Champions League Refractor in PSA 10, one of his more go-to cards in a lower price range. Over the past 6 months, it has pretty much just been down. It's had some nice little upswings, but over the past 6 months, it's down around 30% and hasn't really moved since his move to the MLS. It's still selling in the same price range that it pretty much always has been over the past couple months. But if you do move over to some of the grades of his 71 Biz, which is probably his most in-demand card and definitely his most in-demand rookie card. These are trending actually really well depending on the grade. In PSA 6 condition, based on the most recent sale last night, it is up 42% over the past 6 months, which is really, really good considering how down the overall sports card market and soccer card market is over the past 6 months. So this is trending very, very well. It seems like a healthy trend as well, with each sale sort of being a tiny bit more than the previous. That's a good trend line that you want to look at. It is no guarantee this will continue to go up. If that were the case, it never would have dropped in the first place, but a good trend nonetheless to see for the Messi 71 Biz in PSA 6 condition. So maybe keep your eye on cards like this just to see how they're trending. This is probably the ultimate key for the Messi card market, so it could be trending well while his general market is also trending poorly, just because it's so sought after by both collectors and speculators alike. Then we'll get into the two guys that are way, way up in terms of price over the past first week of the season. One of them is Jeremy Doku. This is one of the only examples I could find because Doku really doesn't have a lot of cards in PSA slabs that transact very often, but I was able to find this finest numbered out of 25 orange refractor in PSA 10 condition, sold on auction for $127.50 back in early July, and then the same person that bought that just sold it today for $200 on best offer, so they nearly doubled their money. Maybe after fees they got like a 30 to 50% return on their investment here, but a really nice bump up there for Jeremy Doku. The reason for this is not because of his performance, although he has been playing well in Ligue 1. I don't think most people even know or care about that. The reason this is moving up in price so much is that, one, Doku doesn't have a lot of slabs, so supply and demand is really in effect, and two, Doku is in heavy transfer rumors at this point to go to Manchester City. Fabrizio reported today that it looks like the deal might be able to get done as soon as this week, and if that happens, Doku's market could do really well because him playing in Ligue 1 is not interesting, but him playing for Manchester City is very, very interesting and opens him up to a whole new category of not just Man City collectors, but speculation that he could be a really good player in the Premier League. So really good stuff for Doku's market, and as you can see, the market has reacted to it or is starting to react to that. So if you have any Doku cards that you were into prior to this past week, now might be a good time to get those on the market because there are buyers for them. And then the guy that is by far up the most over the past few weeks is actually Benja Karmoski of the Inter Miami team. Yeah, this is a weird one for me. So you could have bought his Tops Now for $5 from the Tops Now website. You could have bought a red on the release day of Tops Now. Somebody got a red insert in one of their packs, and it was numbered to 10, and they sold it for $38. So his stuff was literally worth nothing, and then for some reason, after a week, they are now up a ton and are selling in like the $75 to $100 range, or maybe $50 to $75 now. I don't even know where these are at right now. I'll say $50 to $75 range for his base, and his numbered stuff is like crazy expensive. The reason for this is not that Karmoski has played super well for Inter. It's just that he's been in the headlines for Inter and he's been starting for them. And if you've been watching Messi play, you've by default been watching Karmoski play. And more importantly, he has absolutely no other cards. If you want a Karmoski card, this is the only card that's out there for you, and it is a print run of 459. And for whatever reason, even though the print run's $459, if you try to buy one on eBay, there's only like 10 or 15 listings. So whoever bought a bunch of these just isn't putting them on the market, and it's causing a supply shock issue, and that's what's propping these up so much. If you're interested in a Benja Karmoski card, I would say do not buy these. I would be waiting until MLS Chrome comes out, despite the fact that me personally, I own 5 of these and I have 3 of them running on auction right now. I would not recommend trying to buy those because I think this is just insane pricing that is bound to drop as he gets more cards on the market. This is just Inter Miami is hyped right now. By default of watching Messi, you're watching Karmoski. Karmoski has some hype because he's a teenager and he's starting with Messi, and he could play for either Argentina or the United States men's national team. And more importantly, he has no other cards on the market right now. So this is a perfect storm scenario. I would be avoiding his market unless you're trying to collect him, although I don't know why you're trying to collect a guy that you probably don't have any personal connection to. But all that's beside the point. I just think this is a very dangerous market to be in, and I would be waiting for his true MLS Chrome rookies to come out. But for whatever reason, his stuff is up a ridiculous percentage. So if you bought any of these Benja Karmoski cards, congratulations. You won the first couple weeks of the season, and I would be cashing out yesterday or right now. So that is all I have for today. Thank you guys so much for watching. Feel free to like, comment, subscribe, all that fun stuff, and I will see you guys in the next video. And that's it.